So great to have everyone here, and it sounds like there's some amazing conversations being had. We have an incredible presenter today. Thank you for your patience as we got the technology up and running. My name is Tania Browning. It's super, super awesome to be here again in front of you this wonderful Wednesday with, okay weather. It's not super sunny, but it's not rainy, so I'm happy about that. I know I'm old when my mood is determined by the weather, so I'm like, oh man, what am I gonna do next? Oh well. So, QR code please scan, check in if you haven't. Who is a first-timer here? Hasn't been here before? Awesome, great. We have a great presenter. Welcome to our ecosystem. 1 Million Cups is all about creating an environment of support for entrepreneurs. And it really is, in my opinion, one of the coolest things I've been part of in this kind of ecosystem development, in that we get to genuinely learn about you as a human and what you do and what those connections are through our community. So I did that, and I did the coffee. Yeah. I want to make sure I get all of the boxes checked before I go off script, which is on brand for me. So I did all of the things that we were supposed to do. One of the things I'm personally working on is balance in my life, and so I'm a lot. Woo! And I know this, and so I try and take moments where I'm a little less, right, so that it balances out. And one of the things I've started doing is breathing, period. But I thought since today's presenter is about wellness, it might be beneficial for me and for everyone. We'll just take a moment, and we'll go ahead and we'll close our eyes, and we're going to take 3 deep breaths. And what I want you to do as soon as I shut up is I want you to reach for the furthest sound that you can hear. And if that's a car outside or coffee being made downstairs, try and find the furthest sound and just keep it in your head. So I'll be quiet, and we'll do 3 breaths. Awesome. Well, I feel more grounded and more centered, and I think now we're all going to be able to pay attention to Wade Bischoff, who is our presenter, and he is going to talk to us about Healios, right? Whoop, whoop. So let's raise the roof for Wade.
He's actually going to be running the slides, but I need to read this because it is a little bit word dense, so I apologize. Anyways, my name is Wade Bischoff. I am the founder. Sorry. How about this? Okay. My name is Wade Bischoff. I am the founder of Healios. We're a regenerative wellness solutions company. And hold on one second here. Okay, next slide. So a little bit about me, definitely a science background type of person, a lot of technical research. Spent the last 15 years in technical sales in the renewables industry. And as of the last 5 years, very focused on health and wellness as it pertains to my family members who have a lot of issues such as fibromyalgia, chronic pain, autism, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and so on. And so that's kind of been the reason why we've been exploring these different methodologies that can help people feel better and have had a tremendous amount of success. Yes, sorry.
I'm not here. You don't see me. I took my shoes off.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
invisible.
Thank you. All right. So the problem that I see in the health and wellness industry is that it's very confusing for the consumer to navigate. Two, it's oftentimes there's ineffective or even harmful products and services. Sorry, yeah, next slide. 3, lack of support and accountability for one's wellness goals. And 4, oftentimes it's prohibitively expensive products and services for many demographics. So next slide. So the solution I came up with was what I call technotherapeutics. Those are the products. And then the service is what I call a wellness guide, which is essentially a health and wellness coach. So what are technotherapeutics? They are simple, safe, and effective therapeutic wellness devices usable at home or office. The top 3 categories of devices are utilized here at Healios, all working on the same mechanism of action, which is to reduce oxidative stress and significantly boost cellular operating efficiencies. Wow, that's a mouthful. So, next slide. Oxidative stress. In a nutshell, it is the result of many factors of just living. I mean, everybody has a certain degree of it going on all the time, but there are many things that can increase it significantly, such as injury, diet, overeating, chronic dehydration, lack of rest, stress, ionizing, non-ionizing radiations, and so on. The effects of this are, there is a really large impact on tissue and bone repair, metabolic regulation, cognition, and genetic integrity are all negatively affected by oxidative stress. Typically, the primary precursor is system-wide inflammation. And if you do any research on inflammation, you'll see that it's roughly accounts for like 80% of most ailments that people have are precipitated by inflammation. So the dampening of the human repair and immune system's results in an identifiable clinical condition and is definitely a key factor in the quality of life as well as accelerated aging. So the core products, I'm focusing on releasing one right now, but they involve 3 main categories, being gas, light, and then electromagnetism. The devices are scientifically validated, hundreds of supporting studies noting the significant positive benefits, and I have personally evaluated all of them over the last couple of years. They are completely safe to use, require minimal to no maintenance, and are very durable. So the other half of this is to kind of guide people through this process. So a Healios guide or a wellness guide is an educated, knowledgeable person who guides one through their health and wellness journey with support, care, accountability, encouragement, best practices, and ideas tailored to the individual. So the idea behind the business is to offer 1-hour sessions with each purchase of the products. Because I think that's oftentimes missing. People get something, they don't really know how to use it effectively. And I've just personally been the guinea pig through this whole process. So I've learned a lot. And I'd like to share that with each purchase. Then, of course, if people want additional services, those are for purchase as well. So the vision for Healios, though, is a little bit more expanded than just an e-commerce consulting platform. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I want to get that established. Next stage is an actual brick and mortar place. I want to call it, say, something like Club Regen. That idea where people can go to have a low-cost point of entry to get unlimited service using these machines, because they are all user-led. It doesn't require a clinician. So, and I think it's a very useful business model. Phase 3 would be kind of like an on-demand service, so people can experience it at home if they don't want to get out or they are unable to get out. P4 or Phase 4, an actual training and certification program, and of course an app. Always have to have an app. And then the final bit is an actual franchising of the facilities themselves. Nationally, be wonderful, globally even. But that's kind of like the long-term vision of the company. And then currently, where I'm at is just all the basics. I have the products. Yeah, great pictures. I have the products already secured, branded, specifications, have a protocol established, all the standard business startup stuff. Website is very, very limitedly developed, but it's there. I'm still working on that. So what we need, first, guidance and support. That's always the biggest one. That's just looking for other professionals or knowledgeable people that have done these various aspects of just starting a business. Website design assistance, targeted marketing, legal, product logistics, and so on. Professional exchange, that's another part of it. I'm good at what I do, and I have incredible products, and I like to share that. And if other people are interested, we can exchange services. And then, of course, number 3, I prefer not to have anybody invest, trying to rake one through the coals. But I like the idea of helping people. Anybody knows anybody who has a health situation, has money, and interested in helping out a good company. That's kind of what we're looking for. So for me, this kind of came after going to a couple of these events, like what is entrepreneurship? For me, it's simply a means to commoditize what I'm interested in or what one is interested in. The goal being to refine interest to what you need to grow and then just share it with others. So that is it. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Thank you, Wade. I've got a few questions, so hopefully you can deal with me for a little bit. Number 1 is, what's your go-to-market strategy? How are you marketing this now?
Right here, right now.
Okay, cool. Number 2 is, have you considered, because I'm in the employee benefit space, and so when I'm hearing you, I see a product that could be potentially useful, especially for mental health, wellness, and things like that, which is really important right now, as something that employers may sponsor in part for their employees. Have you considered that avenue?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, not fully, but I understand that concept, and that is a very, very great audience to have devices and support like this, because it's just so easy to use and it's safe. And it's like, someone, when they hire a masseuse to come in for the afternoon, it's like kind of similar to that, but with just different benefits.
Cool.
So yeah.
I think it was only 2 questions.
Ladies, stop fighting over it. Jeez. Quick question. First of all, can you run down kind of what your products are that you're talking about?
I can run down the first one. The second 2, I'm not at this moment.
Okay.
I mean, I know I have them. I just don't really want to share with them until
I totally understand
the
that.
website fully. The core product is hydrogen inhalation. It's a very up-and-coming, scientifically validated method to gain incredible health benefits because it's an incredible antioxidant. It deals with oxidative stress very effectively.
Makes
sense.
sense.
That's the core product, and that's the inhalation. It can also diffuse into water. I mean, anybody on like Instagram or TikTok, you've probably seen little hydrogen water bottles.
At this point.
That's kind of like, I don't know. There is some minor effects to it, but it's like very low entry grade to what the true possibilities are of the technology itself.
And then years ago, I worked with a company similar to what you want to do and trying to take off. And the biggest success they had, and maybe just something for you, is they created an app that was an interactive app that was almost like a Facebook. So anybody that had these services could go in and comment and chat between, and then they had their professionals able to, because the mental health of it all, right? If you're having issues or you're talking about it, or then the positive of it all. So they kind of had almost like a Slack app, so to speak, to where people could go in, ask questions, and it just produced that, which is something they took out to the health. That ended up in the healthcare space, where companies would buy that, where the employees could go and log all of their miles or whatever. It was all just health and wellness behind it, which that's the only part of it that took off. The other part never took off. So I just thought I'd share that with you to potentially be an option.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Wade. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Can you tell me what you love about helping people?
What I love about helping people? I mean, to be quite honest with you, I've experienced a lot. I've been to a lot of different places and explored inside and out, and it just seems to be the primary thing that drives enjoyment in life, I would say. It's like service to others is really what we should be doing, focusing our lives around. And I kind of learned that late in life. And so, yeah, that's what drives me.
Wade, thank you for taking the time to be here today and present. And I'm kind of coming off the other questions in the room. To be honest, I was a little confused at the pitch at the beginning. Like, I understood where you were going, but I didn't exactly understand like the core product. And I was just wondering, do you have something that you could share with the audience? Because I think all these points that you made about environmental stresses and all these things, the electromagnetic fields, they all resonate with all of us. All of us in this room are like, wait, what? That's not good, that's not good. But do you have something that you could share with us that like an example of what those stresses are and something that maybe we could think of in our own environment before we engage with a business like you of how to help ourselves with these stressors? And I'm thinking of it that way because if you started with that, you could pull an audience in more to give an explanation of your product.
Right. Thank you. That's excellent feedback, and that's actually been one of my questions for support is looking at it from outside the lens of my perception. Just because I've been in this for so long, it's different. Yes. Oh, am I? Oh no, I gotta hold it. All right. So, well, I'll use the example like I wanted to have like a leave behind on the website, you know, like what do you call that little bit, you know, to entice people to sign up for a newsletter, yeah. And I just thought, well, something very simple, like the top 3 things you can do right now for health and wellness that are like free, and you can do it. It's just a matter of actually doing it. That, you know, that's the other side of it. But I mean, first is hydration. I mean, most people are in a chronic state of dehydration. So that dehydration means your body isn't processing the waste in your cells properly. It's like, you know, like a city. Like if the sewer gets backed up, you have problems, right? Same thing in the body. And so dehydration facilitates that problem. So proper hydration, fasting, that's another big one. You know, it's a legitimate solution for chronic ailments that don't require, you know, it's no money. It'll make you save money, right? Because you're not spending it on food. And then the third one, not eating so much. It's kind of as simple as that. I think a lot of people eat too much food. I know. I was just saying, let's like focus on the quality over quantity, and you'll be much better served. Yeah, but all this stuff doesn't really it relates to the products, but the products are just they do the same thing, but they just do it externally, right? You can do things on your own to reduce stress, but you know, there's other things that you can do from the outside, such as this, like a hydrogen generation machine. That's one of the core 3 products that can do that same thing, literally while you're just sitting here. You know, like I do it when I'm working on the computer, watching TV or whatever, a couple hours. So, yeah.
So I have a few questions. So I'm over here. Sorry, I'm sitting down here. So I have a few questions. First off, have you thought about doing a lab testing to test oxidative stress? Because there's actually a lab test out now that tests for oxidative stress and do some clinical trials or some studies on when your patient starts on or somebody starts on the product, and then you can do the test, you know, like say 3 months down the line and document those.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
So
Thank you.
I'll
Yeah,
get
I
you
like
some
that.
info on the oxidative stress testing because we could actually test for that now.
Okay.
Because it's an up and coming thing, but. You mentioned about the hydrogen. How scalable are you?
How scalable? 1 to 1,000. You know, it's just a matter of making orders. All that's
Okay.
already secured. You know, the logistics and scalability of that is no problem.
Perfect. And then the other thing, I kind of like, I have to put my question in the right perspective, I guess. So have you thought about the markets? What type of market space are you looking for? Where are you looking at marketing to the right people? Because when you look at like oxidative stress, it covers a lot of vast people. So are you looking at any specific target markets yet? I'm just curious on that part.
Well, I mean, it's kind of sad to say, but I'm kind of trying to focus on the high-end market at first. Maybe anti-aging. Pain and things like that that are related to aging, just because that's the market that has higher disposable income, although that doesn't necessarily align with my values long term, but I think that's a starting point. And then there's literally every sector of common ailment can be addressed in some form or another. So it's just kind of like, yeah, where do I start? And then that gets into the market, you know, the website and social media marketing.
Hi, Wade. Thank
Hi.
you. I am quite likely the only person in this room that does not know what oxidative stress is. But I do
Probably not the
feel
only
like
one.
I have a lot of inputs in my life, in family, friends, and media. Everyone telling me there's a lot wrong with me. And that there's and there's a solution, but that's part of the marketing journey, right? You have to convince me that I have a problem, and then you can solve it. And so I'm just curious how you're going to educate the unwashed masses like me that I have a problem, what that looks like, and how you're going to fix it for me.
Right, right. That's a great question. So, just speaking of my own journey, like, what's the adage? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know, it's like that same type of thing. Like a person comes to a point where you know you got to do something for the situation that you're in, whether you're depressed, whether you're just like super low energy, or you have brain fog, or you have cancer. You know, having read those very deep issues like that, and you know you have to make some changes. And so, from there, then the conversation can start. You know, but I have to use very general concepts here, like oxidative stress, antioxidants, all this stuff that's what I call upstream of ailments, because when a person like me starts talking about ailments, it gets tricky really quick. But dealing with things upstream, you just prevent a lot of issues happening over the long term. So if you have a particular situation, you do some investigation into it. You probably have some sort of inflammation going on. You know, there's probably irritants that you're eating, you know, allergens, maybe dehydrated, you know, but all that is being reflected in your current state, like how you are. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's...
Get that fixed in.
Hi, Wade.
Hi.
I was just going to suggest in the form of a question. In your search for your target audience and you're reaching your target market and this plan of eventually reaching a brick and mortar area, have you thought of joining or participating in the health and wellness community markets that pop up all around? There's a lot of like little markets that you can go to, especially if you're mobile with your services. You could pop into these pop-up markets, share your services with people who are already coming out looking for options for health and wellness. And I think that might be a really good step into getting a brick and mortar space. And also you might consider sharing a brick and mortar space with another like health studio. Like for instance, there's Body Alchemy right down the street, and they do a lot of really cool holistic wellness options.
Nice. Yeah. No, I didn't know about the health and wellness pop-up events. I'll look into that. Thank you.
Yeah, I had sorry, I know you probably had the mic first. Really quick, first of all, I wanted to say I think testimonials would be really powerful, and from a wide variety of people, lifestyles, ages, conditions. And then also the first thing that came to my mind was Club Northwest and gyms that you can actually put your product in and have like a trial time so people can come by, try it out for like a month or so, give you testimonials about it, and then, you know, like, okay, I'll bring it back and then charge people to use it. You know what I mean? Because at first you got to get people to try it out.
Yeah.
So
That's an excellent idea. Yeah, thank you.
So along the lines of really telling your story and knowing how to do that effectively is really important. So speaking with folks that know how to do that is really important too. But along those lines of kind of where to go for your audience, have you looked into different type of conferences? Because I see this as being really great here locally, but also it's a nationwide need. So going to conferences where they focus on the aging population. I know they do conferences regularly in places like Las Vegas and things like that. Have you looked into that yet?
No, not yet. That would be a goal, though, for sure.
If I may, Jeff Smith, I'm a local IT guy. Wade, really appreciate your concept, man. Love the presentation, and you're obviously the guy. I can see that in spades. Question for you. I'm just curious, how far along are you in terms of, I think you said this is the first time you've given this presentation, is that correct?
Yes.
So, and I think you said you have a sales background too, right?
Oh, yes.
Right, so concept you're very intimately familiar with, I'm sure, the whole idea of the 30-second elevator speech. And I'm coming at you from a guy with a third grade shiny object attention span. And I was just absorbed by everything you were presenting. And you had so many great concepts. And halfway through, I was kind of thinking like, okay, so what is it you do? And I'm thinking about the old cliche of tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. I mean, how far along are you as far as like say a 30-second elevator pitch, and who you might be evangelizing that to?
Not so much with the elevator pitch yet. I think I come from a technical sales background in like products that don't step on any toes of like medical professionals. And so dealing in this sphere, I want to try to do this as tactfully as possible and safely as possible, for the business. So I'm trying to figure out what that 30-second pitch would be. But I suspect it's, like what are the results you're looking for? Here are the benefits that we can offer, so on and so forth, without getting too specific.
I'll give the mic over here in a second. I just want to refer to the gentleman's earlier question about when he asked you, what do you love? And obviously, you've got a ton of passion around this. And I just encourage you to tap into that and make sure that gets felt, when you're talking to people. So, hey, but thanks, man. Appreciate your courage up there.
Yeah, thank you.
Somebody else?
I just wanted to make a quick suggestion about that elevator pitch. A really good practice to find your elevator pitch is just to journal your why for like a full page or 2 pages worth of just what you really want to get from doing this for other people. And if you just journal your why and then kind of dissect it into 2 sentences of an explanation of what you're doing, it's a good way to find that elevator pitch.
Okay, thank you.
I know that you had said you have 3 products, if I understood. One was the one that had something to do with hydrogen. So my question is, what does a service actually look like? How long does it take? Where does it take place? And I know that this has been asked, but who exactly is your target audience? You mentioned higher end or people that have money to spend on this. What is the cost range? Yeah, but if you could just dive into that a little bit deeper, so then we can talk about it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just focus on the hydrogen. The other two machines would be integrated with the actual brick and mortar, because the combination of the 3 is, it's amazing. But the hydrogen, so the machine itself, it's under $3,000. It's a box, yay. Yeah. It basically just splits water, creates hydrogen gas. You inhale it through a nasal cannula thingy. I do that typically an hour a day. It's my downtime in the evening, watching some TV or whatever. That's when I do it, or working on a computer. The audience is literally everybody.
Right.
Kids not so much, just because they're naturally just more vibrant anyways. The energy level is much higher, unless they have whatever pre-existing condition. But even specific groups of people, say like athletes, there's a whole section here. I was even thinking about approaching like professional bicycling groups, because they have to deal with this lactic acid buildup after extreme workouts, and that's an oxidative stress in the body. So the hydrogen is very effective at dealing with that. So you can look at it from a sports performance, from a healing and recovery. People who've gone through operation, have injury, dealing with other chronic diseases. Was it multiple sclerosis? The basis of that is inflammation. That they coach people how to deal with their inflammation. Here's a tool to help deal with that. So, yeah, it's just one of those amazing things. It's like everybody.
So the service is like a machine that people inhale, and it's an hour long? Is that what
You can do, I always recommend at least an hour.
Okay.
But I typically just do an hour daily.
Yeah.
But for people who have a condition, you can run it as long as you want. There's no negative side effect to it. It's just all positive.
Okay. Do you know what your what a session? Do you have any sort of if you were your customers, what would they be paying for the service? What would it look like? Would they be sitting there? Would you be doing hour-long services? Would you be doing that at? I mean, somebody mentioned the gym. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's pretty easy. Somebody just sits in a chair and you just give them a tube.
It's actually a thing in China. You have it in malls. You walk in, you pay for 30 minutes use. You sit down. Typically, it's a machine. It's split between two people, or you can have just based on the volume of the machine and whatnot. But yeah, you just pay for it to do it. My idea with the actual brick and mortar is to have a low price point for all three machines, something like $100 a month, unlimited usage, which is kind of
like a membership.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
hell yeah, that's
which is
a great
unheard
idea.
of for what these things are and what typically practitioners charge for them. That's just kind of the vision for the brick and mortar. It's a more evangelical approach.
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Keep talking.
No, go ahead.
Does anybody else have this service locally that you know of?
No.
Oxygen bar. Is that a thing?
Used to be.
And why isn't it anymore? Could we do it? Can you bring it back?
No.
I think we should.
Well, yeah, I think the main thing is it's
Your hydrogen. Sorry, I
there's actually
misclassified your product.
regulation with oxygen, and so that can get a little tricky with oxygen stuff. But the therapeutic benefits are higher with hydrogen as opposed to oxygen. Oxygen inhalation does have some therapeutic benefits. Like sports teams will use that in their training and whatnot, but we're finding through the research, the scientific research, that hydrogen is more effective for...
So a hydrogen bar. Can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, when? What do you need? I'm ready. Like next Wednesday. Let's do it. No, seriously though, because I think when we're talking about whole human wellness and connectedness and community, there is a desire for humans to gather and do shit that's good that's good for us, stuff. And instead of going to a bar drinking, what if we're actually getting together and getting better? And so what would those price points have to be? What would your overhead be with that market that you're looking at? If there's a test group that would run you through, I'm on it. Let's do this and figure out.
Could you start doing just exploratory free
Or minimal cost, like $10, like a hit.
so that we could start taking testimonials?
Yeah. For what's that?
I said we want the hydrogen.
The hydrogen, yeah. The hydrogen, yeah. The other device it's more stationary. It's not something to blend out or something like that. That's better on a dedicated facility.
And I think
I got a question.
Well,
here.
I wasn't done. I have a part two. Yeah. So, and the only reason I'm mentioning that is that gateway. Like how do you get a lower threshold price points? How do you get people to know they need it before they make the leap to buy the big purchase? And so that was kind of not free hydrogen for all, just like just like a tester.
Okay, so right here. So when you purchase this machine, is there something keeping those customers coming back to you, or is it just a one-time purchase? You just throw distilled water in it, I assume, and then move on? You never hear from the customer unless they have an issue?
I mean, that is an aspect of selling a product for sure.
Okay.
I mean, I would love to work with everybody, as much as I can throughout time, but it could technically be that scenario for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this product you sell isn't necessarily part of your service that you provide. Are these other two products you're working on? Are they a service that you provide to the customer, or is it another machine like what you're selling now?
All three machines are designed to be used either by an individual on their own accord without needing to have somebody else tell them what to do and how, and all that. Of course, there's the initial, how do I use this type of thing? But all three machines are designed like that. Whether they're buying it for in-home use, all three products will be available to purchase through the website.
Okay.
For in-home use or office or whatever. The other part of it, the actual brick and mortar, the reason for that is because one in particular, one of the products is kind of cost prohibitive for most people. And so that's why I want to have the actual physical location where you can get the benefits of all three of those devices through self-administering. You schedule time for this device, you get 30 minutes on it. You schedule a time for this device, you get 30 minutes on it, or whatever. And people can just kind of come and go as they please into the facility and out to use the devices through like that low subscription cost method.
Yeah, brick and mortar is definitely where you have to be. You are definitely in that price point to where private is hard to come up with.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, I've dedicated a lot of research and time in dealing with manufacturers and getting specifications right. So I feel inclined to be able to sell the products. I understand that it is going to be for a higher market or higher end market. Understand, but I always have to balance things with, more grassroots, and that's the brick and mortar.
2 seconds. We have 4 more questions, so we have about 5 to 7 minutes. So if you could ask your question and pass the mic, that would be helpful. You go first.
So just an idea. For the brick and mortar, if you can do synergy with a business where you're bringing in customers to them, where you're not paying rent and they might even be paying you for bringing in the customers, and you could have certain hours that, you could do it and things, might be a way to make it work.
I like that. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and kind of to piggyback off of him, recently moved from Gilbert, Arizona, and there's a place that's very similar that it has the hydrogen, but it also has the cold plunge, and it has the red light therapy, and then it has the massage in the back, also like lymphatic drainage, kind of that whole one-stop thing where you can come in and get a little bit of everything that like you're piggybacking on. There's so many things that you can just do that aren't massively huge. So with that being said, you get a massage therapist, you get somebody else, and now you're sharing a space that's a wellness space. And I love that idea for what you have there, because I think it would be epic.
Yeah.
Hi. So when you split the water molecule, you get hydrogen and then pharmaceutical grade oxygen. Have you thought to having oxygen as a value-added product?
Yeah, well, the value-added product is technically you can inhale it. They call it Brown's gas. I just found personally that it's not worth it because the oxygen is quite rough on the body. It needs to be moisturized before it goes back in. You'd understand when you see the machine, but with doing hydrogen only, it's very easy on the nasal passageways, and you don't need to condition it, and it's much easier to maintain the system. So right now, yeah, that's just the oxygen technically.
Collect this oxygen and give it back, and this will be your offset for the machine?
I don't know. I was thinking more like, yeah, you could just get a big bag of oxygen, burn stuff with it. I don't know.
I like it. Early stage development. Hey, wait, quick question. I may have missed this. I apologize if it's already been hit here today. But in terms of how do you incorporate selling to health practitioners like doctors, naturopaths, kind of the way the model of the pharmaceutical industry is today?
Yeah. So I generally have a bit of an aversion to like the standard medical system, just versus self-interest. Trying to say that as nicely as possible. It's hard. So I would prefer more. I would work like the highest I envision that going, or direct marketing to see like chiropractors, wellness coaches, massage therapists. People that are like people on the ground doing preventative medicine, not reactive medicine.
Quick qualification and just food for thought. And no offense, but if you told me the benefits of this, I'm a lot more likely to consider it and take it more seriously if my naturopath was telling me, hey, Jeff, you got to look into this.
Oh, for sure. I know. It's a challenge.
There's 2 more.
Sorry.
There was, but there's 2 more now. Yes.
Take some water.
I'll do that one. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for being up here
Thank
because
you.
I know you didn't want to do this. So I know you were hesitant, and I am so thankful that you got up here and you did this because I think it will prove to you you've got a great idea and how you can move forward. And I would encourage you to go back and watch this and take notes on all the great things that people shared with you today. So can you share in 20 seconds why this is important to you?
This is very, very important to me because there is a chronic health degradation issue nationally, and I would also say globally, but especially here nationally. It's out of hand. I mean, it's out of control, and it's very disheartening to see so many people in pain, dying way too early, having a very low quality of life, and being, quite frankly, led astray by, yeah.
He doesn't have to find.
Oh, man. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Go for it. And I want to say Annie was the one who encouraged me to get my pitch together. And so thank you, Annie. Now,
Wade, I wanted
it's
to
your
add
turn.
something about the 1MC is the important part which you shared so eloquently is your story. You know, you have to give your vision and your idea. You have to have a voice and get it out there first. And then I think it starts rolling, you know, from there. And the pitching and presenting does take some time. But you have a beautiful vision, beautiful story, and mission that I really love. I would share just a brief feedback, because you've really answered what we as a community can do for you. But really, I'm dialing in. I learned this early on in my entrepreneurial journey, knowing your customers, because it really is for everyone, but dialing in who are your customers. I would spend time, if I were you, because it's fantastic. Who are your customers? And really dialing in and going to those, either the healthcare facilities or Scott Draper's great at Northwest, but really, before you go any further, who are your customers? Identify them. What are their needs? And where are they at? I feel like with this product, it's super important to do that because you have a beautiful vision and you want to help everyone, but who are your customers? And I would take that. And then also that basic tagline when you get up there, make it pop. Say, hey, do you feel like crap? Are you? I don't even know what Dan's words were. It was really great. Yeah, you should borrow them from Dan. But anyway, that's your thing. When you step up there, hey, are you this? Do you identify with this? Then I have a product for you. That's simple. But anyway, I loved it.